Welcome back to QC Life. Now we're well into the school year, but it's time to start thinking about next year. The CMS School Choice Magnet Lottery is open, and Natalie Parmenter is the founder of Primary Focus here to tell us everything we need to know. Natalie, I'm so glad you're back.
Thanks for having me back this morning. Nice to see you.
I'm so glad that you're here, but I think it kind of blows my mind that parents are already having to think about next year. We're still trying to, get holidays and everything underway, but going into the thought process for next year, I learned this morning when, Heidi and Jorge were explaining it to me that this really is a true lottery when it comes into getting these school programs. And I'm like, this has to just cause a lot of stress for parents. So you have some great tips on what they need to know, dates that are important, and how they can be really set up for success.
Yeah, so CMS, our big public school district in Charlotte, has this school choice program, the magnet programs, and there are some really amazing, cool programs you can get your child into. Dual immersion, they have 5 languages that they can pick from, performing arts schools, Montessori school for free, sponsored by the public education system. But yeah, you need to think a full year out. So the lottery is open right now, and it closes on December 5th, and we're talking about getting your kiddo into their kindergarten, their 6th grade, their high school for next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot to think about. I have a workshop that helps parents pick out elementary schools. So if you're thick in it right now, you're confused about what kind of schools would be right for your child, I will help you. But I've got a couple of tips from that workshop. The first is, it doesn't matter when you enter the lottery, you just need to do it by December 5th. They don't start polling names or anything until after it's closed. But before you can enter the lottery, you need to enroll your child in CMS, and that has a couple week turnaround. So if you don't have a student ID number for your child yet, enter them right now. Just pull out your laptop and do it. And then after you enter that, you need to start thinking about what schools you want your child to go to. I always tell parents, you don't need to be a hero. You don't need to drive 45 minutes across the county. There are so many great choices near you. So prioritize schools close to your home or close to your workplace to make your commute that much more simple in the afternoon.
Yeah, those are really great tips. I'm sitting here thinking of all these things. I was telling her I'm just worried about getting my dog into the right daycare, so I can't imagine the stress that parents have getting their kid into the right school. Now, you were mentioning a bunch of different programs. So if parents want to focus on a specific program, is that a unique enrollment to itself, or is it really just one big lottery and they go where they go?
You get to pick your schools out. So you get 3 choices, and you just rank them. Your number 1, your number 2, your number 3 choice, and you will either get into one of those 3 schools, or you'll be waitlisted at your number 1 school. So make sure you like that number 1, because you're going to be stuck with it for a while if you don't get in. But yeah, if you're all in on Montessori, there are 3 Montessori elementary schools in Charlotte, so you could just 1, 2, 3 put those in. Maybe you're on the fence. You can play your odds to try a couple different types of schools. Yeah, and I have a workshop to help parents out with these choices coming up on Wednesday on the 5th. That's a virtual workshop, so you can watch at home, or if you want to come in person, I'll be at Vaulted Oak Brewing on Wednesday the 12th to help you pick out those schools and figure out what's right for your family, and not do what your neighbor told you to do, but actually what makes sense for your child and for your family.
Yeah, the parent pressure can be really intense, so obviously we have that information up on the screen now. I want to ask you before you go, obviously this is a big decision for parents, but you want your kids to be involved and you want them to have some of that autonomy. So especially for maybe our older kiddos, how do you have that conversation about what choices they're making and where they kind of want to be projected to?
Yeah, that's a great question, because these programs go all the way through high school. I think the themes are very specific, right? So the performing arts at the high school level, if you've got a kiddo that loves theater, they're really into music, these shows that are happening at the high school, they're at a professional level. And I think if your kiddo, you take them to a show, maybe even take them to the open house or show them some of the paperwork about this school, they'll know immediately. Like these programs feel very black and white. We're in or we're out. Same thing with programs like the IB program, where you need to keep a certain GPA. There's a much higher threshold and expectation of a high school student in that. I think they'll know if they're the kind of kid that can handle that and they're into it, or maybe they're not so worried about keeping that high GPA and they're more worried about the social experience in school. So involve your child in these decisions and make sure that they feel as excited about this decision as you do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for those tips and for hosting that workshop so you can answer all those parents' questions. Make sure you come to that workshop with questions. She is your go-to gal.